Hello, everyone. So today we'll be doing the third article, the self, who you truly are beyond the mind and body. So in the first article, we explained why you are not the mind and not the body. In the second article, we went deeper into the functions of the mind and body so you could understand them more clearly. Now, in this article, we will focus on what remains when you see that you are neither the mind or the body, you are the self. This is the part most seekers want to understand, but struggle to grasp. Why? Because the self is not something you can hold, name, or observe like the mind or the body. Yet, the self is the most intimate, the most real, the most present thing there is. In fact, it is not a thing at all. So let's take this slowly in simple language and begin where confusion usually begins. The self is unchanging, silent awareness that knows the mind and body, but is not limited by either. It is not a thought. It is not an emotion. It is not a physical part of you. It does not begin or end. It does not come or go. It does not think or react. It simply is. The self is what you actually are before you say, I am this body or I am this person. Before the story, before the roles, before the name, you are. It is what remains when everything else falls away. When thoughts stop, the self still present. When the body sleeps, the self does not sleep. When emotions pass, the self is untouched. It is your true nature. Of course, that's conditioning. From birth, we are taught to believe we are a person, a body with a story, thoughts, history, and emotions. But pause and ask, if I am this body, why do I say my body? If I am the body, why do I say my thoughts? You are the one who has a body, has a mind, but you are not the body or the mind. You are aware of them. That's awareness. That knowing is the self. Think of it, think of it this way. The body is like a car. The mind is like the dashboard with all the readings. But you are not the car or the dashboard. You are the silent witness sitting in the seat, aware of the whole experience. But even that analogy falls short because the self doesn't sit in the body. It is not inside anything. In truth, everything appears within the self. Many beginners ask, is the self my soul? Not exactly. The soul is often still seen as something personal, something that travels, something with a history. The self is impersonal presence without name, shape, color, or belief. It is not yours. It is not mine. It is the same in all beings. Call it awareness, being, consciousness, the absolute, Brahman. It doesn't matter. The words differ, but the reality is one. The self doesn't belong to anyone. It is what allows all to exist. This is one of the most powerful truths in all of spirituality. You do not you do not have to reach the self. You are the self. It may not feel like it because your attention is wrapped up in thoughts and feelings and body sensations. But just because the sky is covered by clouds doesn't mean the sky has disappeared. You don't need to become anything. You only need to stop identifying with what you are not. The more you turn away from the mind body story, the more clearly the self reveals itself, not as something new, but as what has always been there. You can't see the self like an object, but you can become familiar with its presence. Here's how: sit quietly, let thoughts come and go. Observe the body, feel the sensations. Notice that you are watching all of this. Now ask, who is watching? Pause right there. After you ask who is watching, pause. Don't answer with the mind. Just stay with the question. The silence behind the question is the doorway. That silent, observing presence is the self. It never changes. It never judges. It never pushes or pulls. It doesn't need belief. It is not experienced. It is what makes experience possible. When you realize you are the self, fear of death begins to disappear. Emotional suffering begins to fade. You no longer feel you need to become something. You rest in what already is. Peace, clarity, and joy arise, not from the outside, but from within. And most importantly, you no longer see God outside of you. You realize the self and the divine are not two. Even the idea of I will realize the self is still a trick of the mind. The self is not something you awaken to. The you that awakens is part of the illusion. The self is already awake. Realization is not gaining something. It's about dissolving the false. It's about the end of seeking, the end of identifying with the unreal. When the mind no longer stands in the way, what remains is what has always been here: silent, still, boundless, complete. That is the self. We started this journey by seeing that you are not the body, not the mind. We looked at how they function, why they are temporary, and why you cannot be either the mind or the body. Now, we end by pointing to what you are, the self, the stillness before thought, the presence behind emotion, the light in which all things arise and disappear. You don't need to search for it. You only need to stop believing in what you are not. The self is not far away. It is you. Thank you. I will put the link to the 2 other videos, and I hope you enjoy it. Please leave your comments. And if you like the content that's being produced, subscribe, ring the bell. Thank you.